They drew first blood, not me. They started it. Okay, this review concerns Rambo First Blood Part 2. And there's the cool combat knife. He uses it to cut through barbed wire and he kills many bad guys with it, yeah. Anyway, what does Rambo, Indiana Jones and Herbie have in common? Well, the first Herbie film was called The Love Bug. The first Indiana Jones film was called Raiders of the Lost Ark. And the first Rambo film was called First Blood. So the first one doesn't have the title character in the title, yeah. But then afterwards they realised to make money, to advertise well, have the name of the character in the title for the sequel. Which they did. All their sequels had the main character in the title of the film. In this case, it's Rambo First Blood Part 2. Although most people just call it Rambo 2, yeah. It's my favourite one of the Rambo films, yeah. And, well, the thing is, the First Blood was very good. It introduces the character of Rambo, explains how everything got to be the way it was, yeah. But, I did enjoy First Blood. But, you know that feeling you get when you see a film, you do enjoy it, but you feel like there's something missing. Like the story hasn't reached its full potential, yeah. Well, we get that in Rambo 2, yes. We see Rambo shine in his prime. We see just what he's capable of doing, yeah. We hear that he's a great combat soldier, a great Green Beret soldier. We don't actually see him fight an enemy of soldiers, yeah. But we do in this one, yeah. We see him shine, yeah. Okay, start with a bit of trivia. Rambo 2 superseded the first one, yes. Rambo was more than successful. He became like a cultural icon, you know. Rambo 2 was so successful afterwards, yes, there was a Rambo cartoon for kids. A load of toys came out, yeah. Because you see, at more or less the same time, in the mid-80s, He-Man figures were really popular, yeah. So they thought, you know, He-Man, big, strong, muscle man. Rambo has a physique like He-Man. That'll be a good selling point. That'll help sell the toys. And it worked, yes. The Rambo toys were successful, yeah. Now, I assumed Rambo was a name made up for the story, yeah. There's no such surname as Rambo. It means big, tough guy. That's what it means, yeah. No, it's a real name. And apparently the writer of the original First Blood book, he named Rambo after a brand of apples. A company that sells apples called Rambo. There is also a company that sells apples called Granny Smith. It's a good thing he didn't name the character after Granny Smith. Yeah, just imagine the poster, you know. No man, no war, no law, no army can stop the power of Granny Smith. You know, that just wouldn't work. No, that would look silly, yeah. Okay, Rambo 2 takes a totally different direction to the first one. The first one is more about psychological issues stuff, and you know, it's more like a serious drama. The second one is much more action-oriented, definitely. On a bigger budget, we see guns and explosions here, there, and everywhere. Yes, we go all out on the budget. We go crazy. We go Rambo, yeah. Anyway, in the opening sequence, Rambo is still in prison. He's got 5 years of his sentence left. Colonel Troutman, who's like his mentor, father figure, he says there's prisoners of war unaccounted for. The Vietnam War has been over for 10 years, but they're still out there. And the government wants you to do a mission to rescue them. And if the mission is a success, there will be a full presidential pardon. You'll be a free man. And Rambo pauses and ponders, you know, do I really want to go for all that again? But then he agrees, I'm going to do it, yeah. And when he gets to Vietnam, lots of changes since he was last in the army. All this advanced digital technology everywhere, yeah, all high-tech gadgets and gizmos, yeah. So he's, you know, briefed and told, you know, how all the equipment works and stuff, yeah. His mission is simply to go and take pictures of the prisoners of war camp. Just pictures. Don't engage the enemy. And then afterwards, a rescue team will come and help you to rescue them, yeah. And something that Rambo 2 is too different to the first one. It is very different. But it works. It still feels like a Rambo story. Yeah, it's the sort of thing you'd expect to happen in the universe of Rambo, yeah. And yes, there is a connection between it and the original film. The original film, First Blood, was about being mistreated by your government, by your superiors, yeah. And in this second one, yeah, well, we see prisoners of war. They've been forgotten about. They're mistreated. Apparently they shouldn't exist, and the big twist is the bureaucrats knew they existed all along. They just want to sweep them under the carpet and pretend that they never existed. to give reassurance to the whole world that everything's going all right. So lying, basically, yeah. Rambo is mistreated, yes. A rescue team is supposed to help him halfway through the film. They don't come and help him save the prisoners of war. As a result, he has to do the fight entirely on his own. One man against a whole army, yeah. In the first film, one person dies. In this sequel, over 70 people are killed in the space of just a couple of days. So yes, this is much more action-orientated, yeah. And we see Rambo in his element. Yes, he knows that area of the Vietnamese jungle better than anyone, yeah. Okay, a little bit of a nitpick here. Charles Napier, great actor. He plays like the chief of the operation to recover prisoners of war. Charles Napier plays a character called Murdoch. This film was released in 1985 when the A-Team was in its prime. And I'm sorry, how can you take a character seriously when he's called Murdoch? You just associate that name with Howling Mad Murdoch, yeah. I mean, it's a totally different character, but he just happens to be called Murdoch, yeah. Another connection is the same actor, Charles Napier, he was in an episode of the A-Team. Yes! He played like a military police commander chasing the A-Team because they're always on the run, yeah. Anyway, this is a totally different character called Murdoch. And when afterwards Colonel Trapman and some other soldiers are meant to go and recover Rambo, and they find that he's got a prisoner of war with him, yeah. So Murdoch says abort the mission immediately. And Troutman demands an explanation afterwards. And Murdoch simply says, well, are the prisoners of war even worth saving? You know, is the world going to care about a load of forgotten ghosts? And Troutman says, they're not ghosts, they're men, they're people that fought for their country. We can't just leave them like that. But although Troutman protests, there's not a lot he can do to help Rambo, yeah. And then afterwards, before that bit, about halfway through the film, we see Rambo meets Ko, the Vietnamese woman. And because, yes, half of Vietnam want to help the communists, help the capitalists, yeah. Vietnam is a divided nation. Some of them help the communists, some help the capitalists. In this case, Ko wants to help the capitalists, yeah. And Rambo says a cool one-liner, yes, to survive a war, you got to become war, yeah. Use every kind of weapon imaginable to beat the enemy, yeah. And he also says how they picked me for this mission because I'm expendable. Ko doesn't know what that means, so Rambo explains. And yes, this is like the precursor to that film, yes. Sylvester Stallone went on to star in the movie The Expendables, yeah. Nobody comes to rescue Rambo. He's a prisoner, being tortured, electrocuted. Nobody comes except Ko. Ko violates orders and comes to rescue him, yeah. And eventually Rambo pretends he wants to cooperate with the Russian colonel. Oh yes, Russians. As far as I know, in the Vietnam War, Russians were nothing to do with the communism in Vietnam. Nothing to do with it, no. But in this story, they are, well, Rambo is more entertainment. It's not meant to be totally historically accurate, no. In this case, it's an 80s action film. Let's blame all the world's problems on Russian communists, yeah. So the Russians help the Vietnamese. In a way, kind of makes sense because they're all communists, yeah. Anyway, with Ko's help, Rambo manages to escape the prisoner of war camp. The Russian colonel orders his men to go and attack them. Rambo throws grenades at them and stuff. A cracking score by Jerry Goldsmith. Yeah, the action sequences work really well. And then afterwards, Rambo and Ko are at a turning point. Should we save the prisoners of war? Or should we just forget it? There's no way us two can possibly save them. Our superiors are not going to send a rescue team, so what do we do? Yeah. And they decide, forget the whole thing. Let's just go and live in America and start new lives together, yeah. And Rambo and Ko have a little kiss. Seconds later, some communists shoot Ko. And Rambo holds her in his arms, looks at her, and she says, you won't forget me? And then Ko dies in Rambo's arms. And he is infuriated. He's absolutely devastated at this. Now he wants to do the mission. He wants to save the prisoners of war because he's got nothing to lose anymore. Yes, the only person that cared about him, and she's dead, yeah. So he wants revenge, basically. Yes, wants revenge on all those people, yeah. He kills a lot of them. We can feel the frustration in the character and that he's really angry, yeah. He wants them dead for revenge for the death of his friend, yeah. And Ronald Reagan, the president at the time, he was a big fan of Rambo too. He said, why can't we have more soldiers like Rambo? He's like a symbol of hope and morale for the people, yeah. And, yeah, it's to settle the score in Vietnam. That's why it's symbolic. Settle the score in Vietnam physically, and settle the score of the Vietnam War going on in Rambo's head. Yes. Yes, he sort of gets some sort of closure. So it's personal as well as professional, this war, yeah. And yes, perhaps the scene everyone most remembers is Rambo takes on an entire army on his own, and his bows and the arrows that have explosives on the end. He fights from this tree, that, and the enemy think there's loads of bad guys everywhere. They don't realise this is one man taking on a whole army of baddies. And eventually, after lots of shenanigans, he pretends he's worse off than he is. So the Russian colonel is about to kill him, and then, at the last second, Rambo gets the rocket launcher and blows the hell out of the Russian helicopter, destroying the leader of the commies. In other words, in spite of all the great advances in modern technology, the most effective military weapon is the element of surprise, yeah. Anyway, afterwards, Rambo gets back, he machine guns all the computers, he's very angry that they didn't send a team to help him, and then afterwards just sums it all up by saying, I want what they want, and what all the others that came here want, for our country to love us as much as we love it. In other words, it's all very well asking a man to go and risk his life to save you or to do your mission, but are you willing to do the same for him? Yes, that raises a big question there, yeah. Okay, so in other words, Rambo, we see him in his prime, yes. We see just what he's capable of doing. He's really valuable if he has fighting skills on that kind of scale, yeah. And it is, even today, the action sequences look impressive, yes. It's over the top, but at the same time very entertaining. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.